Hey there, guys. I'm Toby Rudolph, and you're about to listen to the ET Stand podcast. Shaka, brah.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand podcast.
Welcome to the only podcast that spent the entire day arguing about the merits of Kale Iro signing a 4-year, 5-year contract up until 2029 or 2030. I don't know. But the Discord channel was going off between this lot arguing about it. It was very, very funny. This is the ET Stand podcast, the Cronulla Sharks fans podcast that lets its talking do the football. We are live on YouTube and Facebook and available on all the good audio places. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are seeing us for the first time because, guys, strap yourself in. Hopefully, we're here for a few weeks, hopefully 4 weeks, with a whole bunch of videos and a whole bunch of carry-on as we take the Sharkies through the finals series. We're finals bound and full strength, just the way you like it tonight. We've got joining me on the show is Chris Kelly, who was with me on the debrief. Lats is here again. The returning Franco, he's got a voice, and Matty Williams. Hello, Matthew.
David.
It's been so good to see you, legend. It's been a couple of weeks. How are you?
It's great to be back, and I think hopefully the audio visuals will be better this time.
Did you enjoy the Toby Rudolph intro? I didn't tell you that I was doing that Toby Rudolph intro. I was pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, the audio was a bit loud. I was like, "Oh,
where this year's budget went, eh?"
Well, my video editing skills are probably about as good as the Sharks' ability to win a finals match. So that's it's a bit touch and go, but we'll see. Now we're going to hear from Franko very soon. He's going to give us his take on how far the Sharks can go, what he thought of the Bulldogs match. It's a Franko fires off, just him on the Sharks form. Open-ended question, me not even leading him. So I don't know what he's going to talk about or what he's going to say, but he might be a cynic. He might be positive. Who knows? We'll find that out. Don't forget that we have the comments competition running between now and the end of the season to go on the draw from our friends at Displayware to win a Displayware jersey unit. That's the best way to display your jerseys. I got a whole bunch over there, but I haven't bothered fixing up my studio camera. But Lats has got one right behind him over his left-hand shoulder, and you can see how nicely that is. So that will be decided at the end of tonight. I think we'll get Matty, you can decide the comment winner tonight, yeah?
Sounds good. Thank you.
As the returning man. All right, and I'm also happy to announce that we will be doing a grand final event at Miranda Hotel. Now, it's 2 options. Option 1 is the one that sucks, which is you can come down and we can drown our sorrows together and we can watch the Sharks grand final. Sorry, that's not the Sharks grand final. The 2 other teams play in the grand final, and they'll have a bunch of prizes and a bunch of carry-on. Book your table. I'll put the link in the description. You can come down and check that out. However, if the Sharks make it, then Miranda Hotel is going to put a function on for any friends of the ET Stand and a whole bunch of giveaways and all that sort of stuff. We're going to pull it forward. We're going to get a bus somehow, and we're going to go out to the grand final from Miranda Hotel. That is if we are in it. So one of the 2
options. Are we going to come back and do a show till one of us passes out post grand final as well?
That is what we've said we will do. If we win, we will do the debrief live forever until we fall asleep or we have no one watching. So it could be Franco may not stop talking for 3 months if we win the grand final this season.
No one can do it.
No, I know. Given that we're still talking about 2016, you would have to think that is certainly a chance. So do get your comments in the comments section here already. I can see here that Scotty McLaren is here. If the MRC think that it was a hit drop, then I must be 20 months pregnant. Well, you are from North Korea, so it wouldn't surprise me. Scotty, also Harley advising us that Nico was free to play. World of Cricket is here. Freddie Fittler was convinced that Nico would be banned.
Of course he was.
We know how good Freddie Fittler is. And then SJD just celebrating. Finally, the entire band is back together tonight. Must be an important game coming up or something. Good to see you, SJD. And I hope you had a good wedding, you absolute legend. All right. Well, look, we are here to talk about the final series. And on tonight's show, it is a cracker. So I had to make sure that I deleted all of the past episodes to make sure we could store all the footage, because this one might go for 2 hours the way we're going. On tonight's show, we will have all of the Sharks news heading into the finals, and there is a lot. Lats is going to take it through it. We're going to preview the Roosters Week 1 finals match, and we are going to look back to 2023 matchup and what went wrong and just a few tidbits from that. Might be a bit painful, but a few lessons learned. Franco is going to give us his overview of the Sharks' chances heading into the finals. Williams will no doubt have some history anecdotes for us that he's been working on. Kelly's going to talk around the league. We'll look at the other 3 matches. We have the final 2025 edition of Boldo's player tiers. So who's sitting atop the tiers? And a whole bunch more that I won't get into, or I won't remember to mention at this point. So there's a whole bunch. We'll talk about the NRLW at the end as well. So let's get into it. Without further ado, this is the social news. Thank you, Scott Latino. Take it away, my good friend.
There were some very happy Sharks fans across the socials yesterday when news broke of the NRL's decision to downgrade Nico's charge. It sees him free to play with an early plea against the Roosters this week. Look, it was reported that Bulldogs sensationally reached out to the NRL with a medical report on Montoya's ankle, which turned out to be not as bad as first thought. And that recommendation that Nico's charge be overturned was awesome stuff from Phil Gould in the good of the game. There should be more of it. Gould on 100% footy stated he believed Nico shouldn't have been charged in the first place, and they were more than happy to help clear him. Considering it would have been in the Dogs' best interest, given we may encounter them again in the final series, it was a nice little touch by Gould and the Bulldogs. Some fans were still unhappy, however, feeling the charge should have been completely overturned and the downgrade was a bit of a cop-out. I tend to agree, but am over the moon to have Nico square up against the Roosters this week, given how strong he's been of late.
Good to see Nico back. Good to see the Sharks not having to fight another contested challenge. I actually think was this a conspiracy to get a bit of coverage on this match? And it's all in the news. Oh, Nico Hines, will he play? Won't he play? And then suddenly he's just immediately dropped. Just all seems a little too convenient. Maybe I'm giving the NRL too much credit, Franco.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. No conspiracy theory there. I think it just falls under that weird grey area of people not really knowing what a hip drop is, and it's based entirely on injury. This was clearly not, in my opinion, a hip drop. And I don't think this kind of action should be taken in consideration, even with an injury. The swinging legs. If you are, what's a key indicator? If you're losing your legs, I think that's a terrible excuse, because if you're diving to take a tackle, by that intention, you're off your legs anyway, right? So if you're off your feet, you're diving, then you're hitting someone who's running through, you're going to be swinging around. So swinging around is a bad indicator. Because they're going past you, you've got momentum, you've got physics, well, inevitably you're going to swing around. And if the NRL wants to claim momentum and physics for forward passes that aren't forward, then they've got to allow for some kind of universal action in this scenario. I think it's just a dumb thing all around. Common sense, play it out and play on.
Oh, zinger, Franco.
All it provided was every Rooster aligned commentator in the media. So I'm calling out Brad Fittler, Cooper Cronk, Jimmy Smith, Brian Fletcher. Who else you got in there? All of them. Braithen Astor, probably the biggest insert expletive here of them all. Obviously jumping on the Roosters bandwagon, and the rest of the comp going, nah, this is not right.
Indeed.
Look, we all know Franco loves a little bit of swinging, so we might get to see that when he fires off, but who knows? Look, our Jersey Flag squad scored a gritty 16-12 victory over the Canberra Raiders at Jubilee Oval on Saturday. Tries to Felix Fatili, Nikora Williams, Adrian Sandy, with Williams converting 2 or 3, sees the boys go on to play the Melbourne Storm at Leichhardt Oval this Sunday at 11 a.m. The Newtown Jets were brought crashing back to earth, going down pretty much a Raiders flag outfit on Saturday afternoon at Jubilee Oval. The boys went into the breakdown 18 points to 0 before opening their account 6 minutes into the second half through a Stone Street try. Brad Fernley crossed not long after, followed by a quick double to Michael Gabriel, but wasn't enough to claw back the margin, with 2 missed conversions from Riley Pollard proving to be the difference. This sees the Jets bow out of this year's final series in what was overall a positive year for the boys, given a lot of injuries, suspensions to the first grade squad. They were short on troops on a number of occasions this year. Well done on another good season, lads, and onward and upwards. Our NRLW squad were unable to get the job done at Accor Stadium on Saturday night, going down to a spirited doggies outfit 24 points to 14. Tries to Ellie Johnson, Jada Taylor and Georgia Hanaway unfortunately weren't enough to get the chocolates, with Hanaway slotting 1 of 3. The girls now sit 4th on the ladder and go on to play last year's premiers, the Roosters, in a grand final rematch at 7:45 p.m. this Thursday, Polytech Stadium in Gosford, in the last round of the regular season. The club's recruitment team were in absolute overdrive this week, locking down 2 of the club's big names in Captain Blake Brayley and Boom centre Kale Iro, both until at least the end of the 2029 season. This was met with great excitement all across the socials by Sharkies fans, and on the eve of the finals, they are happy to see the deals done so the boys can put negotiations behind them and concentrate on their footy coming to the business end of the season. The club also locked up try-scoring machine Sam Stone Street for another 12 months, which sees him in the black, white and blue until at least the end of next season. And young up-and-coming 19-year-old Preston Lane Sietu has also put pen to paper during the week. Finally, there's been a lot of media noise of late around the fact that our ground is not up to standard to host a semi-final game. I, for one, say that's probably right, to be honest, but we have earned the right to host a home semi, and any talk of moving to Allianz is an absolute joke, given it would turn the Roosters into a home final game. I could possibly live with Accor, given how well we played there the other night, but given majority of people who are drawing attention to the state of the ground are advocates for the club and team, i.e. Gal, Buzz and David Riccio, etc. I believe it's a strategic move to secure some sort of government funding or funding from the NRL itself. I couldn't give a stuff how long the beer lines are on Saturday. Even if I have to use a Portaloo, I'll do it. I'll be there and wouldn't want it to be played anywhere else, to be honest.
The problem with it being played at Shark Park is that it doesn't get the Sharks ready for finals. And so I still remember the 2022 final series where the match against the Cowboys was just a different feel to the match against the Rabbitohs the next week. We weren't simply up for it. And so there's that idea that the footballers have of, you know, when you're playing the finals matches, you go to the big stadiums and you get to play at the SFS. However, the problem with playing at the SFS is that it's just such a clear advantage for the Roosters. And so we'd actually rather play in Canberra or somewhere else. Matty?
My counter to that is we had a big match feel on Saturday night. Lats was there. I was pretty flat that day. I just thought, oh, this is a nothing game, essentially a glorified trial. It'll be the same for the Bulldogs. Both got full-strength sides, but I thought both teams would put the cue in the rack and go through the motions and try not to get injuries and suspensions. Heading out there, 30,000 people there. Just the buzz around Homebush was great. The confidence from the Bulldogs fans was interesting, I thought. Wolf Mother, say what you like about them. I'm not their biggest fan, and they haven't had a hit since 2005. And it's still, as Kelly said, old mate with 2 ring-ins, because the rest of them basically...
They're basically the West Tigers, Matty.
Wolf Mother somehow come into, I don't know, relevance after Origin 3, after they've been in hibernation for literally 20 years. But it gave a big game atmosphere. It felt like a semi-final. It was a bigger crowd than the prelim last year, and you could feel it like in the women's game, and it was building. And when they ran out, sure, the Dogs stuffed the run out. I was like, wow, okay, this is interesting. There's the occasion here. Let's see how the teams respond. And then it went from there. So I think we've had our big game fix there. Let's get our home finals fix here, probably for the last time with all the indications, and then go from there. I'm confident that we would be able to handle any big stadium and big occasion if we were to go well this week.
I'm not sure I want to deny the claim of not getting big finals experience by playing at Shark Park, but I think it's one of those scenarios of causation versus correlation, because that really came off the back of that Cowboys match into the Souths match in 2022. You also got to recall we had an extra time game. We were absolutely flogged.
We were busted.
Injuries, went in a short turnaround.
If we played Shark Park the following week, the same result would have occurred. It was regardless of stadium. It was we were busted going into that.
They were overawed by it though, Matty. I remember looking at it like Nico didn't even get his goal kicks away because the fireworks were gone. There were a whole bunch of reasons they weren't ready for it.
Overall,
maybe it was a big match, and I remember just thinking they're just not ready for how how big this was and this crowd reaction.
Following that, we've had, I suppose, basically the same squad. Has had wins in Perth in front of 40,000 there against South in 2023. Magic round last year. The Broncos last year as well. We've had plenty of big games, big occasions since that we've performed in. So
yeah, it's because they played against South Sydney and they learned from it and they were better the next time. So you just proved my point.
Maybe so. Less busted as well. Anyway, there's many factors.
Well,
Like you,
certainly,
actually, unlike you, Boldo, I see that there's more than just a 1 and a 0 in every argument, but that's okay.
That's well, I like playing at Shark Park, and now that we've got our seats there, look, my bio says it's nice if you can get a seat, but yeah, look,
A lot of people
I just
can't.
think if you're the winning team, you just get to pick wherever you want to play. So if the Sharks want to take the match to Townsville, then they can. So why isn't that in the rule?
Can I just say, like, we all agree that it's not up to standard at the moment. It hasn't been up to standard for a while. We totally get that. We're not saying it's a standard ground too bad. It's, but we've got the home ground advantage. We're supposed to play there due to the fact that we finish higher than the other teams. We play a home final. But at its capacity, we really could have crammed in 23,000 if we wanted, but it's supposed to be 20,000 capacity. So we're only missing out on 7,500 fans. In saying that, got into a bit of an argument on our behalf on social in regards to it. GIO Stadium isn't a great stadium in the middle of nowhere, and it only holds 25,000 at maximum, and they're going to host a prelim. They're going to host a prelim final at GIO Stadium at a capacity of 25,000 fans.
Vossi
So
was
the
I don't think they
NRL
lose to the
fans
Broncos, they won't, but yeah.
No,
Yeah, but they still get it. They still get the
They did
hosting
in
because of the highest
2019.
seed.
They beat Souths in 2019 in a prelim, and that the Cowboys, they hosted the Eels in a 28,000 seat stadium, so it's still pretty small. That Amy Park in Melbourne's hosted plenty. There's got to be a minimum criteria, and Vossi and Brandy were saying this morning that it should be weeks 2 onwards. Minimum capacity is 40,000. Sorry, Cowboys.
Maybe.
Sorry, elsewhere. You've got to move to the big stadiums. Auckland, you can play at Eden Park, but for us, sorry, you might have to move to Brisbane, Melbourne, or Sydney. That period.
So with the week 1 match, though, if the Sharks did play at the SFS, I don't think they get that many fans travelling that far. It's a week 1 match anyway. It's a bloody pain to travel from Cronulla into the city, and you got to walk from the thing. So it's a bit embarrassing for the NRL. They had the one where it was Manly versus the Cowboys, and they got 22,000 there, which was a bit embarrassing.
They got
12,000.
12,000. They got 12,000.
So they would have been better off playing that one at Brookvale. So they certainly don't want that look. We should just be able to play wherever we want. So bagger off, buddy, the rest of the NRL. God, they're all annoying. All right, let's move on to the next segment, shall we? Conspicuous by his absence on the debrief was my dear friend Franco, who has not been able to talk for a few days. So this is now his chance to give us his reaction to the emphatic Sharks victory and the maybe celebrating Sharks fans that included one C. Kelly and D. Bolderman, who were pretty pumped up on that debrief last weekend on Saturday nights. Franco, were we right to be that pumped up? How are the Sharks looking coming into the finals? Or is there a cynic in you that's just going to say, yeah, they've done it to you again? Don't believe. Where are we? What should we expect?
Yeah, look, I like to think I'm a bit of a realist. I'm in the middle of the spectrum here. I haven't completely written us off like Williams has 3 months ago, and I'm not jumping for joy the way you two were. You can only play what's in front of you, and we did legitimately play well. 95% completion, built up into the game really well. But you've got to admit that the Bulldogs, although they're sitting high on the ladder, are not the Bulldogs everyone keeps talking about. They started off with a bang. They had only lost 2 games up until Lockie Galvin joined. Since Lockie Galvin joined, they've been the very definition of hot and cold. For the past 3 months, they've only won 50%, 6 wins, 6 losses. So I don't think, if you just took that back end of the season and ignored the first half of the season, very, very hard to do. But if you just took that back half of the season, the Bulldogs aren't the same team that everyone is falling over themselves to say how great they are and how amazing the coaching team have done. They're a mid-range team. absolutely by definition, 50% win rate. So by beating them, it's not the bellwether that we want it to be. It's a good, like I said, it's a great performance. We did really well, but the opposition was not as good as everyone is making out to be. That coupled with the fact that Bronson Sherry got knocked out, they had the possessional reshuffle with Burton, thank you, moving out to the centres and then moving back into the halves. Kickout going off for a HIA for a period. They were all over the place. It was not the season-defining moment that everyone wants to think of it. And given we have had a pretty soft run for the last month, I'm still in the not convinced category. I do think that it was far better showing than the last few weeks. So again, can't complain there. I just think that we might be in for a shock against the better opposition that's coming. The Roosters I think are a far better team. I'll keep my powder dry, I think, on how I think we're going to go against the Roosters. But overall in the finals, we are probably not in the best position, if I put it politely. I do think we're on the better side of the bracket. I think by going through against the Roosters, we basically avoid the Panthers up until the grand final, I believe, or preliminary. I'll have to double check.
No, we'll play. If Canberra win,
final.
We'll
No,
we have to play Melbourne.
final.
We'll have to play Melbourne.
That's all right.
We can't play Penrith
no
until the grand
Hughes. Yeah, no Hughes, no Pappenhausen maybe. So yeah, it's a good bracket for us to be in. I'm not scared of Canberra. So yeah, I think this is the stronger position for us to be in terms of getting to the big one. The Roosters are a big hurdle though. Those outside men are just gonna be all over us. So yeah, I'm not jumping for joy to cut it short, but good performance by us. But yeah, I think we should temper our excitement.
You want me to roll straight in?
Yes.
I do have an element of agreement with Franco. I was there, so it was Lats on Saturday night, and as I mentioned before, I thought it had a game pre-game or before getting to the ground feeling like a trial game, and interesting to see how it went. The Dogs are certainly up for it. They have not been in form for a while due to many reasons, and they were a bit busted as well. And yes, losing Sherry early and kick out, I don't care who you are. I could tell from 80 metres away that he was concussed, and how he didn't stay off was like Tino a few weeks ago. It's absolute joke, which was to our benefit. We called him out in defence a few times. He was falling off tackles like he doesn't normally against smaller players, including, I think, Iro and Burns putting bumps on him and the like. So, it was to our benefit. The Dogs were certainly up for it though, and we were going set for set with them early. And I was like, okay, the Dogs are up for it here. This is a full hit out, and it was a great result by us. And I think the most dangerous thing, I was mentioning to Boldo before, it gives us hope. So before that, I had zero hope, and I wrote them off after Ronnie said last night and in other interviews that game, after we played the Roosters in Gosford, I drew a line through it. It's like, this team does not have the mentality, does not have the mental maturity, all of the rest, the wherewithal, to do anything in this competition. And Ronnie said that their attitude towards that game stunk. They just beaten the Storm. I don't know what that meant. He didn't go into it, where they had a lot weaker training. I know that we had injury and illness and all that like through the whole first half of the competition. And there's been plenty of reasons, and I'm not going to use the term excuses. Fitzy doesn't use the term excuses, but there's reasons why we performed that way. But as we kept saying, our season seemed to be going down the gurgler. We saw this team that had potential, but just couldn't get 40 minutes together, let alone 60, let alone 80. The weekend provided us 80, and it was a different kind of performance. And it was the first time in 4 years I thought this team showed starch. It felt like 2016. I think it was Kelly or Boldo or both said the other day in the debrief, it felt like 2016. It felt like prison ball. And that was before the bench even came on. The bench came on and ripped in even further. And I was like, okay, wow, if this team can do that, admittedly, it's against a busted Bulldog side. So it'd be interesting to see how it goes against the Roosters team, which is, we'll talk about in a sec, the form team of the competition. And the frustration is that it's there for the taking, because if we finish top four, it's the big if that we can't control now. But we could have beaten
goodness, if
Canberra.
we'd have been top
We
four.
could have beaten Roosters. Sorry, we could have beaten Canberra. We could have beaten Bulldogs. We could have beaten Storm. The way that they're in, the state that they are in right now, I think the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Roosters, the form teams, the competition, maybe us as well, and we could put ourselves in the frame. So it's given us hope, which is very dangerous going into a final because, I wasn't even going to go on Saturday night. I was like, I literally went on Saturday night, just gone because I was like, last game of the year, this is how the season's going to end. And all of a sudden, a performance like that invigorates everyone, but it's very cautious optimism.
There's an
option. You and Franco, hold on, you and Franco, I swear you were going to convince us that it wasn't going to go well and you were trying to sit on the fence or hedge your bets. But after listening to you, I'm now convinced that we're absolutely winning on Saturday night based on everything you said. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear a single bit of negativity in there at all,
optimism. As Franco said, I don't think this team has proven anything yet. And until they win on Saturday, that's a big if. If they do, then they've proved something and we go from there. But at this point in time, they've proven nothing. Still.
Yeah, there's also, I guess, Williams, you mentioned off the back of the Storm, the loss to the Roosters. There's an element of that again, right? Did we play our finals match at game too early?
Maybe.
We got up for that one. There was intent, there was starch, there was high completion, concentration. Can we do that 4 more weeks in a row?
I think we can, Franco. I think
what's the energy around the team, and give us a commentary on
mate, everyone's pumped across the socials. Everyone's starting to believe again, as Matty said cautiously. They're not counting their chickens yet, but I'll tell you what, it's getting that 2016 feel about it across the socials. But look, I don't think we have played our finals match a week early, Franco. I think we had the perfect time to have the bye. I think that, and we had a couple of soft games around it, and that just put us in good stead. And now we can just get on with the job and progress. I think we'll go strong into the Roosters game, and I think we'll go very close. So I think we'll be okay.
All right, let's go through some of these comments before we get into the match preview. Benny Turner saying that Matty will be talking till round 1 if we win. Certainly be talking until the World Club Challenge, Matty.
Yeah, we'll be talking about ball pressures and camera angles and all kinds of things.
Point of the ball.
JD mentioning that his wife mentioned the Sharks in her vows. Pretty sure the Sharks got to mention at all your weddings in the vows some way, didn't it, fellas?
100%.
Avocado Shark says tinfoil hat.
That was in relation to the Hines.
That was at you, Boldo. Yeah.
On that,
the NRL, planning this idea that Hines was going to be out. That's what that was around.
Ah, right. Yeah, of course. One that I'm a conspiracy theorist.
2 conspiracies. Yeah. Braith and Asta reckon that the Bulldogs helped out the Sharks because they didn't want to play the Roosters later on, and then straight away it was counted as like, no, wouldn't you not? They just lost to them. Wouldn't they want to prefer to play the Roosters? But anyway, and then my favourite conspiracy of, I think, the week, maybe the year, is Franco's. Do you want to divulge your theory about PVL?
I don't know if I want to get him in the dirt, but I reckon he's a closet Sharkies fan. Good old PVL. I think he's
it's a few indicators.
Bit of a fan of the Sharks, black, white, and blue. Looking after us again.
Well, maybe we need to get him on the podcast.
Bought the
He's been on the podcast.
He has.
He has been on the podcast.
Was that Todd Greenberg? That was Todd Greenberg, wasn't it?
We had
No, I'm being silly. It was definitely PVL.
Eero Hirotti, Greenberg, Volandis, it's all the same.
Yeah, oh God. All right. Okay. Yeah, cool. All right.
People
Comment
don't
from
forget.
World Cricket Channel says, one of the Sharks girls was getting a pizza from my store, unnamed at Cronulla. WCC, you can just do yourself an ad because your pizza store is clearly going to sponsor us next season. And she was not happy because she had to wait too long. Well, maybe she should get a beer down at Shark Park and then.
Well, maybe don't mention it.
Yeah, maybe don't tell us your name now.
Yeah. Who do you think it was? Oh, actually, let's not do that. All right, Stuart Campbell says, need Cronulla's member of government to do something for once and get us a new stadium. East and West got plenty of funding. Nothing for Southern Sydney. We'll address the Sydney funding and all that sort of stuff a little bit later. Shout out to Dor, Forest legend, says loves the Forest shirt. I'm wearing a Forest shirt because Ant Postecoglou has just been announced as the new Forest manager. Stewie Campbell asks us, any news on why Nikora was named on an extension bench and not in the 1 to 13. The Sharkies typically don't like to drop people and put them in the news of feeling like they've been dropped. So I think Nickera will be coming in for Billy Burns, but we'll get to that discussion in a little bit. We'll talk about SJD's comment. Roosters are rocks and diamonds. There we go. Other than that, God, there's so many good comments coming through here. All right, well, Franco, you can do a skim of the comments and let me know if there's any there that we need to bring up in a second. All right, let's get to this Roosters preview, shall we? It's time to preview the Roosters match against the Sharks at 7:50 p.m. on Saturday night. It will be a sellout. If you don't have a place to watch the game, get down to Miranda Hotel and watch it on the Shire's biggest sports television. They will have the $7 schooners going again, as they do during all the Sharks matches. Matty is here to give us the form guide, history, past performances, and everything else we might want to know heading into this one. Matty?
David, so 110 matches we played against the Roosters. We've won 41. They've won 67. So that's quick maths makes for 2 draws in there as well. Obviously, we beat them way back in 1967 in our very first competition match at Sydney Showground, or Sydney Sports Ground. And we played 3 finals against them. So 2002, we won't mention that one, and the rule changes. 2018, major quarterfinal. That one I thought we had for the taking until Latrell Mitchell knocked it out of a grubber out of Luke Lewis's hands, and we lost Wade Graham to an ACL. And 2023 we'll talk about a bit later, unfortunately. So can we buck the trend? Overall points tally is Sharks 1900 on the dot to the Roosters 2118. So they've scored a bit more there. They had a long winning streak over us between 2017 and 2023. Since then we've gone win loss, win loss, win loss, and the last result was a win to the Sharks. So does that mean a win to the Roosters? Hopefully not. So Fitz has got 3 wins over his former colleague in Robbo, and Robbo's got 3 wins over Fitz. So we'll see how we go in finals games, though. So in finals, we go into, referring to my phone here, week 1, we've played 26 finals matches. If you include one of them as a playoff against the Broncos in 1989, we'll include that one as a win. So we've won 11, we've lost 15. So that's about a 40-ish% success rate. Do you guys remember the last time we won a week 1 finals match? Has been a while.
I know the answer.
2016.
2016. Go, Kelly. Yes, 2016 is correct. Prior to that, we had a pretty good record, and we won week 1 in 2015, 2013, and then before that, 2008. So anyway, there was a long time between drinks, but our overall finals record is 55 matches, 21, 1 draw, and 34 losses. So that's the history. So we will have to make
that doesn't help me at all, Matty. Now I'm convinced we're going to lose.
It never does. Well, we'd won precisely 0 grand finals before 2016, so good thing we weren't doing a podcast then. But I think that
we'd still be talking about it.
Their history is there to be broken. So yes. Anyway, that's history means nothing. That's the Roosters, and hopefully we can provide a similar performance to the other day and go from there. We'll go through the lineups, and then I'll provide my tip.
All right. The Sharks have named their team to take on the Roosters. I'm going to do the team list for this one to take on the Roosters at 7:50 p.m. down at Shark Park. It is a almost, arguably, complete full-strength Sharks team with William Kennedy at fullback, first-choice wingers and Sione Katoa, Ronaldo Mulatalo, Jesse Ramian, and Kale Iro in the centres. So the first string back 5 for the first time, the second time this season. Braden Trindle's back in the number 6 jersey. Nico Hines at halfback. Vanua Blake and Toby Rudolph are the front rowers, with Blake Brayley, the hooker and captain. Billy Burns has retained jersey number 11, currently in the team, with Teague Wilton at 12, and then Jesse Colquhoun locks the scrum with the big bad 4 bench. Oregon Kafusi, Siasifa Talakai, Thomas Hazelton Wood, and Braden Hamlin Ueli. The coach is Craig Fitzgibbon. Christopher Kelly, is this the strongest team we have fielded all season? And is this the team we should have?
Close to, but obviously Britton Nicola is on the extended bench, and I expect him to come in at some stage. So whether Billy or Jesse shifts around and we drop off one of the forwards, I'm not too sure, but I guaranteed that Nicola is going to come into that team. He's only missed the 3 weeks. Like you said, I think it's just one of those things where the coach doesn't want to change a team lineup that he's had that's going into this game. Thought Billy Burns probably played his best game, and that's saying a lot for him because he's had some wonderful games this season. Probably had his best game last week against the Dogs. But some poor sucker's going to miss out and go to number 18 out of this team. But yes, quite excited to see the back five back together again, and also the back line, and see how we go. Interesting enough, looking at last time when we played the Roosters there, just on a little thing on Fox Sports before I saw was Kennedy was out of that match. Obviously, we picked up on Toby was a bit busted and breathing for air, and so was Tommy in that game against the Cowboys. So the boys look a lot fitter, faster, more experience for it, and hopefully we kick on from there.
Franco, Britton Nickera, your favourite. Should he play? Should he be straight back into the team? How do you play that one?
Yep, straight in. I think I've also on record for saying I think Burns is criminally underrated, deserves a first grade spot, starting position. But unfortunately for him, yep, Nickera goes straight in. I probably think, even though last week he performed really well, I think Burns is better on the other side of the field. And so, yeah, it's an easy swap. And unfortunately, even further for Burns, with the big boppers on the bench, I don't think he gets a bench spot. I don't think you drop anyone there off the bench to make way for him. So I think he slots into 18th jersey.
Or does Daniel Atkinson wear the 18th jersey, Lats?
Look, mate, I'm a bit concerned about Nickera not being named. I've got a feeling he's going to come in, but I'm hoping it's not. What my thoughts are incorrect, that it could be at the expense of the cheat code. He picked up a leg injury at the back end of the game. I don't know if it showed on the broadcast of the television. He couldn't put any weight on it. He was struggling. He went off out the back for the last sort of 5 minutes, and he was sitting on the ground waiting for a trainer to come to him, and he looked like he was in all sorts of trouble there with his leg. Don't be surprised to see Nickera come in to the side and be named to start, with Burns dropping back to the bench and Talakai out.
Yeah, echoing Lat's comments there, that was what I was completely concerned about, and all of my focus, apart from the Nico hip drop alleged right in front of us with 2 to go, was about 5 to go when Talakai got the injury. He did, to his credit, hang around and walk of his own accord around the fans. To the players' credit, they hung around with the supporters for a long while after the game, which was good to see. But another podcast did report that everyone trained fine 2 days, including Talakai. So hopefully just a concern that has since abated. But yeah, that was my concern as well. That's good to go.
Maybe a cork.
Yeah, we know how good Talakai is at just not getting injured. He's just such a cheat code and beast.
2022, he was on one leg,
a bit busted,
and
man.
Peter Hiku just turned him inside out that entire Cowboys
It actually
game.
looked like a bit of a syndesmosis injury, but he's had that surgery. It actually looked like a little sneaky hip drop in when he got hurt as well.
Yeah.
So I found that interesting that the focus missed that and got Nico's one, and I thought that was the reason why. I thought it was Tupanua had 2 shoulder charge, or the shoulder charge that the answer for, and also the late shot on Tommy. So
bang on, we should have been
nothing came out of that.
Yeah, and there was nothing. They went back and put him on report after the try was scored. It should have been 20-0 to us, and not even looked at when that was very late and high, and Tommy's not short. So, and Tupanua was not particularly tall. So that was, and then there was nothing from that. Not even a grade 1. Bizarre.
Comparing this team, Matty, to all other finals teams, and I'm going to test your knowledge of the finals teams, and I'll help you out with this. And this is where I'm going with this. This looks the most uninjured Sharks team going into a final series since the 2016 team, and maybe the second most uninjured Sharks team entering finals that I can remember for a while.
It is more uninjured than the 2016 team, because going into the 2016 finals, we had Gal was injured, we had
for
Joey
that week
Paulo
one
was injured, and then Wade Graham. That was in the tackle. But there was quite a few injuries being carried into that first week. That's why it was so important to win. I think in the Fitz era anyway. Look, 2022, we were without Kennedy and we brought him in. Talakai had the syndesmosis injury the week before, and then was basically playing on one leg and got the Cowboys just tore us to shreds there, unfortunately. And a few other players under your.
How many of our halves had bloody hamstring injuries in the final? Sean Johnson, Matt Moylan.
I don't even know. Blake Brayley got injured in the 2020 final against Canberra when he was carving up prior to that. I think Finucane, I don't know if he played against the Cowboys, but he was.
Todd Carney.
He played against Todd Carney, did his Achilles in 2012. So as far as we know, as far as we can tell, we are in good shape.
Even Nico.
2022, 2023, we were without Kennedy again. and a few other players. 2024, we were without Nico, and then he played the final round coming into the finals, but clearly couldn't put any his speed on it. And I think he still is suffering from that injury. He seems to have lost all speed, despite he was those passes and some of his ball playing was just phenomenal the other night. So you are right, it is a fit side. And what I found most encouraging was A, the back five, but B, probably even more importantly, the forward pack. It seems to be that everyone, bar Talakai, that slight concern the other day, is humming and firing, which we have struggled to. I think McInnes was looking busted at going to the finals last year. We just couldn't keep up physically with other sides, and that was our downfall. Even the Roosters game in 2023, we lost Tommy during the game, and a few other players had injury clouds. This one, Touchwood, is looking in a good spot.
It's an interesting shout out though, talking about how healthy we are and how good we looked. It's a bit sad. No one's really lamenting the loss of Cam McInnes. I think we all kind of thought it'd be interesting to see how we go without him, and there's no one really sitting here going, "Oh, we're going to miss him for the finals."
Franco, there were 9 points we made at the start of the season about predictions, and I was wrong on all of them except for one that we didn't need Cam McInnes. So, look, Cam McInnes' quick play the balls are pretty useful. He would be a useful player in this team. And if he was available, he would obviously be picked at 13. I think at the expense of Jesse Colquhoun. I'm not sure Jesse Colquhoun makes the team if McInnes is available, actually. So it's close. But what I really just am really pleased for us that we're going into a finals match where we've got a couple of players on the bench. Roddy could come in. Stone Street could come in. You know, Nickera could come in. Atkinson could come in. Like, none of those players would be out of place in the finals team for the Sharkies. So
available depth.
We'll see. Yeah. Scotty McLaren saying, Franco, I think Cam should be back this weekend. But that's entirely accurate. All right. Well, look, I guess we got to preview this Roosters team. And for those that are familiar with the show, you would be aware that every time we play the Roosters, we get to play the chicken dance song by that amazing Russian composer. So without further ado, take us through the Sydney Roosters team to take on the Cronulla Sharks.
Is that we can't hear over the music
fan, or is it? Is that because I'm a closet Roosters fan, or is that what it is?
Yeah, that's it. Because you're the closet Roosters fan, and also you're the only one who can say number 5.
Oh, I was going to challenge you all to it anyway. So James Tedesco is the captain and fullback for the Roosters. Daniel Tupou, Billy Smith, Robert Toya, and Mark Nakawatawase. No one else can say it. I challenge everyone to do it. Practice it as much as you can. You'll get it right. Hugo Savala, Sam Walker, Spencer Leniu, Connor Watson, Lindsay Collins, Angus Crichton, Victor Radley, and Nafahu White. You got Lolu, Butcher, Steep, and Wong. Trent Robertson is the coach. So I try and get the admin lady to practice Nakawatawase, and she can never do it. So I can encourage you, once you start to learn it, you can say it all the time. Easy one.
You've just
Nakawatawase. Is that how you do it?
No one can do Tawase.
They see? Well, that's as practice, but me and Lutz have a different name for it because it's too much to write.
Yeah.
I was the resident Roosters expert on the panel. So why do they score so many tries, and why are they considered the form team, given that they finished 8th?
It's mostly due to the fact that they're of the bloke we just spoke to. They like to call the nickname now of Marky Mark because they get bored of saying his name so much. Did finish the top try scorer for the season in the NRL due to the fact that the hammer was actually coming at him for one more try, but did his MCL right towards when he was about to score. He made his 4th to catch up to get the top try scorer. And then you got Daniel Tupou, the other tower, on the opposite side as well. So they got 2 great crossfield options in our wingers, which could cause a bit of trouble for Sione Katoa mostly, but not for Ronnie. Robert Toya is probably arguably close to the rookie of the year, playing Origin, coming out of nowhere. Sam Walker, no one expected to come back from his ACL injury so well and so quickly. He's back on fire. Connor Watson, obviously, you got Crichton, Radley, and Collins. Nafahu White is an absolute beast and too big to be playing lock. He's on absolute form, and they know how to get it done. They're an experienced team. They're rolling, they're humming, they know what's going on. But in saying that, they do have a lot of errors in their game. I know they did put the sword to South on the weekend, but in that first half, they had a lot of drop ball and a lot of errors. So they are eighth for a reason, but we all know how this script goes before, and we're seeing what Sam Walker can do in a finals match against us.
That's the Roosters team. Is there any bad energy or dislike towards the Roosters players online that you see? Who's the villain?
Oh, look, mate, it's generally more aimed at Uncle Nick and the sombrero. The teams like fans don't like them. You know, the silver platter team that gets the rub of the green all the time from the NRL and whatnot over the years. And I think it's a team that people have grown to hate for those reasons. And look, we know Chris Kelly's a fan. I don't mind the Roosters. I've got a few Roosters supporting friends, and I'd probably like to see them go down in a blaze of burning fire. But I think it's a strong team. I don't know if you guys recall, I tipped them to make the 8 and I was ridiculed for it, but we had turned out playing them in week 1 again of the finals. But look, I didn't expect Sam Walker to come back like he did, as strong as he did. We played them and beat them when he was back. It was only his second game back. He barely even had his match fitness back up to scratch. It's going to be a different team that we play this week. They're going to be switched on. They've got some big game players there with a lot of experience, and we're just going to have to shut them down. I think we'll go well in the forwards. I think our forwards are more agile and have more minutes in them. I think we just have to bash them through the middle, and we've got our back 5 there that'll punch us out of the back. And if we can control the ball and control our errors and discipline, we'll go a long way to winning this match.
The Roosters have got one player that is just clearly above everyone else. Captain James Tedesco. And so when you go back and look at some of those past matches where we've lost to the Roosters, it is almost always because James Tedesco is a support play and what he's gone and done. And it still baffles me that they pick Dylan Edwards in Origin and not James Tedesco. Franco, how are we shutting this guy down? Or am I right to think? I reckon he's the top NRL player, period, at the moment.
Look, it's obviously a different discussion at the beginning of the year to the end of the year. He did have a slow start and he came off the back of a poor season last year. But he's on fire. He's doing really well. He's full of high tempo, looking for opportunities. Realistically, it's their backs that are going to cause us trouble. Everyone sees it. Everyone knows it. So the best way to neutralize that is to just try and play down their end of the field. So as Lat said, it's a very, very basic way of putting it, but just be consistent, reduce your errors, and just try and play down their end. So if we can play down their end, we obviously the kicks to the corner aren't going to happen because they're not in range. And so if you're nullifying that, then the next thing is Teddy looking for tired defenders. So I think if we just bash them, goes back to that 4 big boppers on the bench. If we just bash them, I think we can maybe get Victor Radley on tilt. He's one of those players that I think, especially of late, if he has a couple of errors in him, he can go tilt and give a few penalties away, a few silly errors. We can use that to our advantage. But ultimately, we just got to try and keep down their end of the field, because I think this is one of those games, and we know what Sharks are like in defending errors or defending penalties. If we give them cheap meters up the ground, they're going to punish us for it.
Chris, the bench for the Roosters. We saw all the punch and impact that the Sharks bench had. How's the Roosters bench going to deal with us? Our guys.
Yeah, it's interesting because they have been messing around with their bench in the last couple of weeks. So Watson has been coming off the bench in the last couple of games for the young guy in 14, which is a bit stranger. He plays a bit of a 9 or 13 sort of role, sort of like Cam does. And the rest are, second rowers, if not a front rower in Wong. So they sort of mess around as well, switching either Lindsay Collins to the bench, Spencer Leniu off the bench. So interesting, they've named the strongest team to start the game. You mentioned Teddy before. It still gives me nightmares about 2023, because once he got sinned in, and I can remember it was right in front of us, I thought, we've got this. We're in the bag. They also lost one of their wingers during that game, and I thought, how good's this? It's all fallen apart.
Yeah, they lost Joey Manu, didn't they?
They lost Joey Manu. Like, we're going to walk in here and just went sideways real fast. So, yeah, our bench is definitely a lot better, a lot stronger, a lot more strike. It just depends if Trent Robinson stays with that team that he's named.
All right. Well, you mentioned the 2023 match, so I'm going to lean on you, Matty, because you love history and can remember these matches like the back of your hand. So you and I will lead the chat on this one. So I did rewatch this game. So for the benefit of those without the visuals, the Sharks team from 2023 in week 1 was Connor Tracy, Katoa Rami and Talakai, Mulatalo, Trindle and Hines, Rudolph Brayley, Royce Hunt replaced Braden Hamlin-Ueli, who was withdrawn at day prior to the match. Britton Nicker, Wade Graham was the captain. I forgot. Geez, feels like so long ago that Wade Graham was playing for us. But Wade Graham was the captain. Cameron McInnes, and then our old favourite, Jack Williams, was on the bench with Tom Hazelwood. Remember that was the game where they called him Tom Hazelwood? Oregon Kafusi and Jesse Colhoun. So that gives us 5 players in the Sharks team that are no longer present. So 12 players are back. If you include Hamlin-Ueli, who could have played, that's 13. Cameron McInnes would have been 14. It's a very, very similar team to the one that took them on. You'd have to say, looking at that 2023 team for the Sharks, would certainly get beaten by the one now. Will Kennedy's much better than Tracy. You'd have to think Fanua Blake's better than Hunt. Teague Wilton eventually took Wade Graham's spot, but was injured at this time. Iro for Talakai. It's a better Sharks team now than that one. And then if you go look at the Roosters team from finals in week 1, they're missing heaps of guys. So I don't even remember Fitalagi Pauga, Chris, but we'll no doubt remember him and probably got his cards and all sorts of stuff. Joey Manu, obviously, was an absolute gun. Sualihi was, I guess, probably the worst state of origin player ever other than Aaron Raper. Luke Keary was a stellar player. Brandon Smith's gone. Nat Butcher's gone. Terrell May's gone. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So their team's changed a lot in 2 years since they've played us since then, which I think plays to our favour. And back to my original point, there's something in the experience of the big match feels, but there's also something in playing a finals match at Shark Park because it isn't a big stadium and it is going to be uncomfortable for them. And maybe we can just put them under a little bit of pressure. Matty, give us a commentary on what do you think of the 2 teams that we go back and look at that.
I think it's a good comparison. My thoughts on 2023, and I'm not going to go back and watch that again. Obviously, it's not even the same universe as the 99 prelims. Sorry, lads, but it was about 40% Roosters fans there, and I think that we need to be wary this week too. That it's probably going to be the same. And I had a really weird vibe. The bay that I was in the concourse on the northeastern end, 10-metre line, and it was half Sharks Roosters fans, and I was hating it. It was one of those games, as Kelly said, it looked like we scored early, and then Trindle missed a pretty easy conversion, and Hines had, I think, a hammy or a calf issue, and then he started kicking from there. Then we let in very first set, Ronnie drops the ball. Thankfully, we didn't challenge it, but you just can't do that. And then we defended. I think we defended a couple of sets and then got off our line. We're lucky because you look at it these days, if you drop the ball in the first set, you may not touch the ball for the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, and that can ruin your entire game. So you can't start like that. We started that way in 2023. We then also looked like we were kind of finishing over the top of them. They had the injury to Manu, and it saw Siwa Wong go to the centres. And also, I think they lost Power or whatever, their winger. Anyway, they were torn to shreds, and we didn't attack that way. And then they survived, Tedesco being the bin. And it was just big game experience from big game players. You had Tedesco, Keary, Walker end up kicking the field goal. But even Brandon Smith, say what you want about him at hooker. Big game players, big game experience that showed us up in the big moments. I think we had 2 field goal attempts that we stuffed both of them. And it finished basically as soon as it went into the final 10 minutes with scores tied. I think they scored with about 10 minutes to go to tie it up. There was only one way the game.
Your memory of this match is incredible.
Scarred.
Because I'm just looking at my notes. I'm going to talk through it's incredible notes.
So,
here's a trivia question for you ET Stand podcast fans that are out there. What is notable about this match in Sharks history? It is the last match to have had something happen. And if you can answer that question, then maybe you'll go a long way winning the comment competition tonight. Not even sure if the boys can. I'm pretty sure Matty knows what I'm on about, but this match is the last time that this did or did not happen. at a Sharks match. All right, so I went back and watched the Roosters match, and I went through the pain of it. So for starters, we were actually bloody unlucky because McInnes actually scored, but they couldn't see the point of the ball on the ground. So that was like 5 minutes in.
McInnes didn't even sell it. That was the stupid thing. He was over the line. He didn't even sell it. Go up. Celebrate.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't. I'm sure Jesse Calhoun won't have that problem 5 minutes in this week. Then Nico threw that brilliant looping pass to Sione Katoa on the right-hand side in front of you, Matty.
Yeah.
And Katoa actually runs through around under the post, and Nico actually misses that kick.
It wasn't Nico. It was Trindle. It was absolutely
Trindle
kicked because Nico kicked after that. It was Trindle that missed.
That's right. Trindle missed because they didn't show it in the highlights. So they actually missed that kick. And that actually turns out to be like absolutely critical because later they actually take the two when they're on the ascendancy. And my dear friend Franco, if Franco and I were on a debrief at this time, he would absolutely tear me a new one for why there is a moment in this match which is maybe as good a reason or example of any time ever why you should go for the try, not for the 2 points, Franco. I don't even need to argue. If you go back and watch it, so then, that's right. They took the 2 to go from 4 to 6. So they do that once. So then they've got the moment where Jack Williams drops the ball, which leads to a disallowed try. We had the moment where they called him Tom Hazelwood. And then actually the Roosters tries were heaps unlucky for us as well. So the first Roosters try was when Tom Hazelwood was injured with that sternum injury. We only had 12. And then Sam Walker gets the kick from the sideline, which also makes a massive difference. And then the Roosters are super depleted with Manu off. And Hines was brilliant the way that he got Tedesco sin binned. That was like one of the great Hines moments. And then, Mulatto scores to get us to 10-6. Then they take the 2 again. And then the second try for the Roosters was that BS ricochet where they kicked it and it hit the guy's boot and then flew out wide. And then you just sitting there going, how the hell do they get that?
Right
and then
in front of where we were seeing.
And then actually in today's rules, that field goal wouldn't count because they had the blockers in front.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have counted either. However, goodness me, it's like heartbreaking watching that match. So I think we've come a long way since then. I think the Roosters team is not as good as that one. I think we're better. We're at Shark Park. I'm starting to believe. Let's go through the tips, lads. Or do we want anything else to... Lads, I can see you. Do you have anything to add?
No, mate, look, just looking at these teams, they had a pretty strong bench back then. I think we're going to punch them with our bench we've got this round. I think we've got a much better, solid bench. Interesting to see what comes of the Britton Nickera outage, but he'll slot in. I'm going to give you my tip. I think we win this one, and I think we're going to win by 12 points. I think it's going to be comfortable, and I think we're really going to put it to them. I think we're rested. We've put some points together in the last few weeks, and that spirited performance against the Bulldogs really made me start to believe.
All right, get your tips in the comments, gang. Will the Sharks win or not? By how many? Matty, give us your tip.
Sharks by 4 in an absolute heart stopper. Anyone is not. I mean, at this time of year, we said it when you were going down to Melbourne last year to play the Storm in week 1, and I think you were leaning towards tipping Melbourne. And yes, that's head over heart. But in my view, at this stage of the game, if you're not tipping us, then you might as well not show up. And that's why I was so unenthusiastic towards the end of the year. And this weekend just gone's got me.
Suddenly,
excellent,
expecting you on the podcast, Matty, because you've been working so much.
Yeah,
it just comes out of nowhere. Hey, I'm on the pod.
Sharks by 4.
Christopher?
Yeah, like I said on the debrief, I was cursing on Friday night, realising we have to play the Roosters because we sat through that match and it was absolute torture. We were like, Matty, we were at the opposite end and we sat near the Roosters Bay, and I was only lamenting on the weekend.
One of you blokes had gastro, didn't you? Was that you, Kelly?
Oh, it was me. Yeah. I was struggling. It was cold, and then we got
you bloke sat me next to him.
Yeah, I know. We also was lamenting the fact that it's run by the NRL, so you had the Roosters cheerleaders, you had the Roosters mascot. Like, it just they pump up that whole section next to us. I'm like, this is just horrendous. Like, it's supposed to be a home ground advantage, and it's not. But in saying that, I go the opposite take against the Bulldogs. Like, we get called the flat track bullies, but they've been the flat track bullies all season. They haven't been any one of the top 8 nor the top 4 all season as well. So absorbing what we did in that first 20, I think, puts us in good stead going into this week because, like I said, They have a really experienced Roosters team, a really experienced forward pack, but I think we win in an omen of 20-16.
That'd be
Franco?
Yeah, look, as I said, the match against the Bulldogs didn't convince me. I'm a bit weary of our form over the last month. But you know what might convince me more is Souths nearly beating the Roosters last week. They had a convincing performance against. Took them a while to get over the top of Souths. Is probably the better way of putting it. They were up against a depleted Melbourne, with Melbourne resting their whole team. They got beat by Parramatta. They beat Canterbury. We've just proven that's nothing special. And then after that, it's just Dolphins, Manly. So nothing great for them in the lead up to the finals either. So I think that we're in for a red hot crack here. I am legitimately concerned about Marky Mark and Tupu. I think those guys are going to give us nightmares. And I think if we can keep them quiet, then it's ours for the taking. So hopefully, straight down the guts. And
Maybe we can stick Tommy Hazelton out on Katoa's wing, just so you won't even have to jump.
Or if the NRL stick to their rules from the other night, just like a Tony Stagg, just tackle them in the air before they get there. Tackle them before they even jump. Just go to Tony Stagg. Just give it away a penalty. Don't worry about a sin bin. Just tackle them before they even jump.
So, all right, Sharks fans are coming in with their tips. Mike Knight saying Sharks 28, Roosters 24. My top says that the Sharks will avenge 2023.
I like this one.
Also, I think
someone else had the avenge one.
Avenge, indeed. SJD talks about something we have not mentioned. AFB we haven't even mentioned him. He is got to be a difference maker in the finals, doesn't he?
And that Achilles injury, but does he need to? If he's able to provide his output for 65 plus minutes, that would be amazing.
He'll play 45, 50 minutes, I think. They will first stint 25, 30 minutes, put him on at the end to close out the match.
Kafusi only got 15 minutes against the Dogs, so a little quiet hit out for him.
It's fine.
Not to mention, I ridiculed Fitzy for his choice to play and bring Kale Iro back against the Knights game. I'm praising that now. He's got 2 good games under his belt. He's gotten through. He's looking strong. He's not looking out of place. And that left edge is looking a lot stronger with him there.
Only one person is brave enough so far to tip against the Sharks on this podcast. Whoever that person is, just imagine being married to her. All right, my tip, gang.
By law,
she's on stage. She's on stage.
She's a Shark supporter by married law.
He is a Shark supporter by married law, indeed. Anik Kelly. All right, guys, I'm going to give us a pep talk. This is not going to be an easy match, so Sharks fans, we do need to turn up and support this team and be the. What was that, Matty?
Thanks, Scoop. Sorry, mate.
What do you mean, Scoop?
We've all been saying it. You've got to speak the pep talk from Boldo. I was waiting for this. Is going to be easy. You've got to smash it by 50.
If you say sing this song, I'm never coming
I'm not
back on the show
I'm
again.
not singing the song. I'm not saying sing the song now. I can do, but certainly this is going to they're going to come pumped up. But I'm just going to say I think the Sharks, the wingers if the wingers can hit it up the way that we know that they can, and they can have an A game, then the rest of the forward pack will follow. And I just think we're going to be too big for these guys. And I think it's going to be close. It's not going to be plain sailing for us, and we're going to be over them the whole time. But I think we can keep them at distance like we did in that last match at Shark Park. And I think we can kick away at the end and win by 8 or 10 points. But we got to get behind them, Sharks fans, and we got to be loud. So it's going to be close and not easy. But I think the Sharks can do it.
That is a big shout from SJD, though. AFB, this is where we'll see him make a difference, really make a difference in these sort of games and just punch those holes through the middle for us and get that those post-contact meters that we've been missing. For the last,
in the finals, you just need your top guys. I just remember how good the Cowboys were with Taumalolo. He's just heaps better in the finals. So Ben Kennedy was another player that was just heaps better in the finals. So AFB, we paid your fortune. Let's go. Benny Turner's asking who the ref is. Does any of us know the answer to that?
It's in the comments earlier. It's in the comments earlier. I think Ash Williams put it up, or
Oh, Ash Williams always talks about the
Todd
refs.
Smith is referee.
Todd Smith, yeah. I think Ash put it in there earlier.
Yep, correct.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, that was it. If you are listening to this on delay or later, do get your tips in. Let us know what you think. Can the Sharkies win or not? Let's find out. All right. The rest of the matches this weekend, Chris. I was actually going to divvy these up and have each of you talk to one match each and have you pick that, but I forgot to ask you in the in the pre. So, Chris, the semi-final matches. Give us a rundown on what you take on those.
Yeah, interesting that we're just talking about it. And the Bulldogs are going to face the Storm down in Melbourne. Both teams going a bit busted. Carraz was named back for the Dogs this week. Obviously, the Storm without Jerome Hughes, probably for the season, I would say, with a broken wrist. I don't see him coming back and in sort of miracle. Pappenhausen out with a late concussion that was changed from a Cat 1. And also big Nelson down there was suspended for a couple of games. So the Dogs going down there playing a bit of a tough team as well. It'd be a bit of a who's left out of that team left standing. You've also got the Wars at home against the Panthers. Panthers are going to wear their Vegas gold jerseys for the whole final series. They're not going to be a clash, so a bit of a flex on the rest of the league. Going black and gold for the rest of the final series. Should be a sellout over there as well, and Go Media Stadium and going nuts over in the Wars land. Shout out to our guys, Wars Up TV. I'm sure they're going to go there and have a good time and it'd be a very interesting match. I'm not too sure which way I'm leaning on that one. So, and then you got the Broncos.
Sorry, Chris, sorry to interrupt you. I just had a laugh. I had to have a laugh. I was looking at the socials and today around that match, and there's been a Warriors fan page come out and name the hotel that the Panthers are staying at and pleaded with every fan to get down at the front, do burnouts, let off fireworks right through the night, and really upset their preparations. So, yeah, maybe we can
obviously not going to do that.
Some addresses of some Roosters players and
let down
go
the
egging
tires
and
on the
burnouts
bus.
and doughies out there.
Yeah,
they're obviously not going to do that. That's just a misunderstanding of New Zealand humour. That reaction to that story.
No, that is Australia.
Yeah, but I can see that
all over it. They are going to do that. They are for sure, and it would be rude of them not to.
There's no way
a bomb threat at 3 a.m. or a fire alarm going off or evacuation drill or something like that. Like,
do the whole going through customs, all the
serious. Like the New Zealand All Blacks got done in 1995 by food
poisoning.
Just
to confirm, that's a fan page, not the NRL, not the Warriors telling their fans to do that. It's just a bunch of fans on Facebook.
And it's not the Wars Up TV guys. It's not
probably the Wars.
It's not Live On doing it.
Can't trust
Live On and Ash. They've actually hired Wolf Mother. They've got the other guys who are no longer in Wolf Mother band, and they're playing the rest of the song that didn't get played the other night at the Bulldogs out the front of their hotel. So
I like how Boldo gets upset with a bit of shenanigans, a bit of head games going into a match, but usually
he's the survivor himself.
Yeah, you're happy to yell at an NRLW player trying to line up a conversion, but doing burnouts at a hotel.
I stand by my abuse of the NRLW opponent.
Boldo, you've never run down a complex driveway on the way to Sharks screaming out Sharks.
No, I've never done that. I've never done that either. All right, so I think the Warriors can beat the Panthers, Chris.
Yeah, I'm head and heart in that one. I was talking to Bulldogs fan Chris Grasser about obviously the Dogs' fortunes, but I was more worried about Roosters, Panthers, Broncos coming through with those experienced teams. So Panthers still, they're a bit like the Dogs, or even the Roosters. They haven't been that impressive in the last couple of weeks. They obviously were flogging the Titans and nearly let them come back until their trainer happened to walk past. They've also had the wetting the ball gate. So they've had a few sort of issues this season with trainers and the like and tactics.
The Patriots.
Yeah, they are the Patriots.
The big game experience scares me. That's on their behalf. They've been in the big dance for the last 4 or 5 years.
If the Panthers win the whole comp, we will look back at the match against the Warriors and thinking, it would have been good. That was the one to get them knocked out when they had to travel to New Zealand. The Warriors are certainly going to be passionate, but they're going to be busted. So I think it's going to be tough.
Not only that, you got to remember that they rested players after Origin, and their Reggie's players went over to New Zealand and beat the Wars over there as well. So there's nothing for the fear for them going over there. You then got the Broncos down at GIS Stadium against the Raiders. There's a bit of Ricky Stewart brouhaha going on. I saw a comment earlier saying that once your team's conceded 50, you can't win the comps. There's a bit of a joke going around on socials that Canberra conceded 50 even though they rested all their players, that the omen's going to stick to them. But there's
Matty
also a
loves
bit
that
of
omen.
Ricky Stewart saying a bit of an unfair advantage that the Broncos got a 9-day turnaround, but Ricky rested his whole squad, so he's had a 14-day
Exactly.
turnaround. So I'm confused.
And you can't
Good
play
old
any
Ricky.
later than what's Ricky saying? Play on Tuesday? For goodness, I reckon the
Yeah.
Broncos are going to win 13 plus. They are absolutely
And now
going to.
there's-
The Raiders were not good against the Tigers when they didn't rest players. So
Yeah.
I think the Raiders are a false minor premier. To be honest with you,
Not only that, there was news out of tonight in regard to the coaches playing a bit of mind games with the team bus. So Ricky Stewart this year's changed his players to they've caught a bus to the ground instead of driving their own cars to sort of get them used to those away games. There was an issue with the Broncos being allowed to park their bus in the stadium. So there was a question from the Broncos put to the integrity unit in the NRL to ask what's the go there. So there's a bit of mind games going down there as well. So
if
You
only the
mentioned
Raiders.
Walsh apparently missing training or having to leave training early due to a calf issue.
Ooh,
yeah, you got
Who knows?
Papa Lee maybe faking a foot injury down in Canberra. There's a lot of shenanigans going on.
Big
so,
Red sitting in the corner somewhere crying.
Yeah.
if only the Raiders got Todd Carney to catch more buses, that he might have been immortal. Who knows? But
Who knows?
That's
He
a-
might have been.
Uh,
He might have been an immortal.
and
All
I
right,
saw
there's a
comment
whole bunch of
earlier,
you guys in here watching at the moment. I'll just get through the like. Just give us a like, guys. If you're new to the channel, also advises other Sharks fans. There's a lot of you in here watching, as the Sharks fans are definitely pumped up. Chris, close us out on the NRL finals before we
Yeah,
move
on the
on to
NRL
the
finals,
tiers.
I think it was Ash that had a comment on there. What day, if we win, do we play next? The NRL has actually changed the schedule for this season to ensure there's a Sunday game throughout the finals. So watch this space. We'll have to see where the games are played, but they want a bit of Sunday Arvo footy to give the fans a bit of enjoyment in the lovely spring weather.
We have to think we play on the Sunday. Yeah, wouldn't you?
Who knows?
You
I'd
never
say
know.
Sunday.
We'll work it out.
We play the loser of the 1v4 game, Raiders v Broncos. There's no
Which is
way.
Sunday.
Sorry, I'll rephrase that. The winner, whoever plays the loser of that, which there's no way they're going to have a shorter turnaround to play the Saturday. It'll be the Sunday, and then
Yeah, it's gonna be
whoever
Saturday.
wins
If it's
that will
Ricky.
probably be the following Sunday, and
That's
then the
what I
following
think.
Sunday.
That's what I think too. All right, well, let's move on to the tiers. So for those that are new to the channel, Boldo's Tiers is a segment where an esteemed panel of Sharks fans get together with me and we rank the Sharks players, not based on their daily endpoints, not based on
Laurie.
how well they're
Their lorry
doing for
points.
us, but actually on how well they're performing for us, based on how much we're paying them, the position they play, and all that. Now, normally I get one of the boys to give us an intro for this segment. This segment is brought to you by the guys down at Morgan's at Cronulla for all of your stockbroking needs. But I don't need one of the boys to intro this segment because I've got someone much better.
Tears. Hey, it's Blake Brayley, and you're watching Boldo's Tears. Shack Attack.
Yeah, do you like that? Mr. Blake Brayley and Tony.
Oh,
Did he pronounce Boldo correctly? I thought he said Boldo.
Oh, I had to get him to say it.
who was filming that, Boldo? Was that you filming it?
Yeah, it was. Why do you ask
I
that?
thought it was Michael J. Fox, but the camera work was a bit shaky there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was just in awe. Just in awe. All right, well, this is the player rankings of the Sharks right now, where they sit on the tiers. And I will go through those right now, and the boys will react. So there's a few players, obviously Gabrielle and Liam Eisen and Cade Dykes and a few other ones that aren't going to make it. So it is only the absolute core of the players. So the first tier says, good luck at the Bears. Cam McInnes has got his own tier at the bottom because Cam McInnes, I'm not sure, will ever maybe even play for the Sharks again. And Daniel Atkinson is no longer at the bottom of Boldo's player tiers. So, Cam, if you don't play for us again, good luck wherever you end up. On to the next. More than capable. I'm calling these guys on the next tier, the second bottom tier. We have Marwina Roddy and Stone Street. These guys have proven that they're more than capable of filling in and playing first grade whenever we have asked them to. They're certainly blessed to have those guys within our squad and have made a big contribution to our performances so far in 2025. Next, these guys, they need to bring it. Trindle and Nickera. So these guys have both been much higher on the tiers. Both have actually been the champions of the tiers in months past, but we haven't seen the best of them. We certainly haven't seen Nickera for a while, and Trindle was injured. So, guys, you need to bring it this weekend. Show us what you've got so you can move up the tiers by the end of the season. But right now, boys, you're just a little bit low down because you haven't been playing. Next. Well done, Dan the Man. could have been grumpy, could have not put in an effort, but he was absolutely critical in that Bulldogs win on the weekend and reminded Sharks fans why he was so popular with us in the 2024 season. He is out and out the best third choice half in the NRL competition. And good luck at the St. George Illawarra Dragons next season, Dan the man. I hope you don't have to play for us again this season. On to the next. Regaining some form. Oregon Kaufusi and Jesse Colquhoun. Oh, not Jesse Colquhoun, Jesse Ramian, rather. Finding a little bit of form, but still not much. So there's an argument to be made that they should have also been on the need to bring it table, but they've just had a few more matches. I liked what I saw from Oregon Kaufusi being error-free on the weekend. Jesse Ramian got a try. Maybe he's not as bad as all of us think. On to the next. Consistent. Jesse Colquhoun, Billy Burns, and Braden Hamlin-Uele. I've really liked what I've seen from these guys the last couple of weeks, except for that one error that Billy Burns made, which was disastrous. But these guys have been really consistent, so I've been pleased with the performance of those guys. On to the next. Starting to believe again. Sione Katoa. He's in such good form with those big hit-ups. Will Kennedy. Support play. Danger. Not injured going into the finals. Starting to believe in you, Will. Don't drop the ball off the kickoff this time. Come on, guys. On to the next. Still can get better. Teague, Ronnie. I still think there's improvement in these guys, but they've been playing really, really well. So you can see there's a bit of the tiers a little bit higher stacked than they might have been previously, guys. These guys, they can get better. On to the next. Delivering right now, Nico Hines, AFB, and KL Hero, which is a big returnee. Since KL Hero's been back in the team, the Sharks have been looking better. Sure, he hasn't got as many tries as we would like, but just the makeup of the team looks strong with KL Hero there. On to the next, the bench. TTT, Toby, Tom, and Talakai. Our bench changes games, changes matches. They're just too big, too strong, too fast. You could say, well, maybe Toby's not on the bench, but I'm considering him an interchange impact player. Putting him up there, and of course, the captain is top of the tiers. Again, Blake Brayley is the form player of the Sharks and is the first player to have held his position at the top of Boldo's tiers since we have been doing it. That is Boldo's tiers heading into the final series, where I rank the Sharks players right now. No funny games with this one, just calling it as I see it with the names. Matty, I'll get you to give me a reaction first. Who should be higher? Who should be lower? Who have I been tough on?
I'm happy with all of it, which I think, that's for the first time since this started that I haven't had any input or feedback or snarky criticism. I think that pretty much nailed the form line at the side.
I did spend a little bit of time on Oregon Kaufusi, actually. I thought maybe I made him a little bit too high. Franco, what about you?
I was going to say it took Oregon Kaufusi 15 minutes to jump up the ladder after not having played for quite some time. So yeah, that was a bit of an odd one. Look, it's a straight swap for me between Jesse Ramian and Hiroti. We saw what Hiroti did in those couple of games with Ramian out. It's just a completely different edge in attack, and I think he deserves to be higher up on the list. He, in my opinion, is more than a replacement player. I think he has now passed Ramian in terms of benefit to the team. Ramian's still on his day, is a damaging ball carrier, but really in that Bulldogs match, I didn't see anything there that he did that I couldn't see Hiroti also doing. So, yeah, that's a straight swap for me between those two guys. And the rest, look, yeah, I think you're pretty close there to being spot on.
Lats, Brayley's top of the tiers again.
Yeah,
Haven't
mate,
seen that before.
Look, he's been our most consistent player this year. I think you've nailed this. I think this is the most accurate you've gotten these tiers. Look, Hamlin-Uele's been awesome. I think he's really come back and proved that he wants to play and wants to put in for the team. Just going back to Franco's sentiments on Ramian, I thought Ramian had a gun game the other day. We saw how strong that side was in defence. Nothing could break through us over that side in our defence, and I think he's going well. But again, what a privilege it is to have a player like Hiroti backing up if need be, going into the final series. You spoke about that depth that we've got earlier on in the show, and mate, this is a strong team, and we're coming into form, and they're going to shake these final series.
I echo Latz's thoughts on the Ramian. Yep. Sorry to interrupt. The Ramian versus Hiroti thing, being live at both the Knights game and the Bulldogs game. Hiroti in attack as a ball carrier and a distributor, better ball playing centre, but I think defensively, Harodi got found out watching both live and the replay at that. Got found out by Best a few times, including a line break, and we're going to be playing against I suppose bigger and better centres than Bradman Best. So we're as Lut said, Ramin was hitting hard in defence. The thing that frustrates me, I think, where it frustrates all of us, the silly penalty he gave away, picking up and dragging someone over the sideline early on. The odd brain farts, he got away with a few escorts that were absolutely criminal because Klein's clearly blind. But if he can get that out of his game, he can get back to how he was a year or two ago. So I think they've gone with the defensive option.
Yep.
Chris, the need to bring it row of Trindle and Nickera, they can move back towards the top of the tiers. Goes a long way to helping us in this final series. They are critical, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they will. I think we've missed him for the last couple of weeks. I saw a comment in there earlier saying that he hasn't been so good this season, but he runs that damaging line. He's great in defence. I think we have been missing him a little bit. I've been turned into a Billy Burns believer, so I think he could have gone up to the delivering stage, and it's taken the 8 months, Boldo, but you finally did your tiers properly, and you actually showed what you feel about Cam by putting last and saying sayonara. So, poor Cam.
Poor Cam. We love you, Cam. I don't mean to give you a hard time. It's just something
we love him.
Fair enough. All right, that was Boldo's tiers. Get it in the comments, guys. Have I got this right? Who should be higher? Who should be lower? Is the panel wrong? Not the panel. The panel. That's what I call them.
Esteemed
Esteemed panel.
colleagues.
Esteemed panel of Sharks fans.
The
And
experts.
if you want to join the panel, do reach out and ask me. Anyone who's not on the podcast or involved with it can do that. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Sharks players and if you think I got that right or not. All right, let's moving back to where we were on everything else. So we mentioned the NRLW. Jeez, that was tough,
great.
wasn't it?
I was
It was
there.
a good night out for Taylor Preston against her old club.
That just sucked.
Carved us up.
Yeah, she was certainly inspired.
Try.
It's almost like they just don't, since not having Taylor Preston and moving Hannah away and bringing Jada Taylor back in, it's almost like they're not sure who's where. Is that the right take on that, Chris?
Taylor's made an immediate impact since coming back.
Yeah, she's like the key
her
player.
individual try was unbelievable. She stepped through multiple players, went over and scored herself. But like I spoke on, there's only a couple of girls in that team that are real standouts. Speaking to Stephanie Chandler, saying it, or not Chandler, I always got to say Chandler, but Faulkner, because I know it's Steph Chandler, and I always get it mixed up. Speaking of Steph Faulkner, it is a really big sort of chasm of talent and depth in the NRLW. So when you got your gun players, they really stand out. And when you got the ones sort of coming into the squad and trying to help out, it makes a big difference. So they are still all learning. But look, they know where their flaws are and they're just trying to work on it. But yeah, like you said, it was a bit hard to seeing a photo on socials come up of the ex-Sharks and the new Sharks together, and they're getting a photo and you're sort of like, oh, what could have been? I know Franco spoke on it, how we could have had an earlier squad in the competition. It might have built to something a bit better, but a very roller coaster season. It's hard to get around.
I just hope that we're ready, just getting ready for finals and doing the same thing that the men's team's done. Is just expecting that we're going to play finals and therefore they're going to explode out of the gates at the end of the season.
Well, you
Franco,
look at
any
last year,
chance
they went up to Brisbane and no one gave them a chance at all whatsoever, and they turned up for the finals. So who knows?
We're going to have to play
hard.
Brisbane again.
It's always hard to just turn it on. You kind of want at least a game or two to get that form going. You know, it's unfortunately learned behavior is winning and dropping balls and whatnot. So just to say, let's cruise until the finals match and then turn it on, it's a very difficult ask. That said, if it comes with a change in personnel due to people coming back from injury, whatnot, depending on how they're coming back from injury, if they're carrying, then that's a little bit different. But if they're coming back fit and firing, then yeah, by all means, I think we can certainly go the distance. But the Roosters are just a next level.
Certainly are. All right, girls, we still believe in you, and it's a shame that they're not playing before the Sharks match, isn't it? That's such a bummer.
Missed opportunity there would have been awesome.
I spoke to Stephanie about this as well. The scheduling, and I've spoke about this all year. The scheduling in NRLW is just awful. Like they do that game no favors the way they schedule games. Even after the Eels flogged the Knights, they had another game straight after that. They're usually on Channel Gem of all things to try and watch a game at 8 o'clock on a Sunday when you probably finish your league and getting ready for the week coming ahead. Having Thursday night matches, games not matching up where we're playing the Roosters. Why wouldn't you put this on before the men game? You've got the perfect opportunity to
clearly
do it.
one way you just move it, isn't it? You just move it.
It baffled me.
Oh, well, what can you say? Oh, and anything else for us to chat about, Franco? You've always got some point or something that we forgot to mention or a comment. Maybe anything you'd like to bring up?
I do have a couple of things. Just on, I guess, for those playing at home, the assistant coach watch. Very interesting developments have occurred. Both Ennis has announced he will be leaving Manly. He's no longer be coaching there, which is a big move considering he was earmarked to replace Seabold in a couple of years, with Seabold sort of showing his intention to not want to be a career coach and wanted to move into administration and whatnot. So that's a big call from Ennis to say he's not going to be there at Manly anymore. So he's moving on. Maybe he's looking at something else at another club, potentially the Dragons, getting the band back together with Flano. But hey, maybe he's still a Sharky at heart and he wants to come back and join us. The other one is Brett Kamali, no longer an NRLW coach at the Tigers, so he's been let go there. So now also available, I guess, for any potential coaching roles that come up. So he might want to throw his hat in the ring there to be an assistant
attacking coach for the Sharks. Inside ball, bring it back, Chris.
And today, Franco. Sorry, Franco, just going back to that today, Laurie Daly was announced that he'll be taking an assistant role at Manly.
There you go, okay. So
Laurie Daly or Daly, is it, Boldo? Is it Daly or Daly? I'm not sure, but Daly.
Daly Cherry Evans. He's actually taking they call it a soundboarding role. So he's not actually an official assistant coach because it goes against his contract with the New South Wales Rugby League by being the Origin coach.
Well, hopefully that
role. So
hopefully he does that gig in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so some interesting developments there, especially obviously we're in the hunt for a new assistant coach. Certainly Ennis is a bit of a crowd favourite. It would be interesting to see if he would be coming back. A couple of people mentioned Kamali as an option back when we were discussing it with Hane's announcement going to the Titans. So both of those are theoretically available. And that would be interesting to see. We know there's a few other options that are being thrown around, but you'd have to think that they're going to at least get an inquiry to see where they're at. And finally, Boldo, I've got to say, mate, it's been a while since I had my voice, so I'm quite curious. You wanted your mum to come in a bat for you to see if you were right or wrong. Efficacy versus efficiency. Did you get an answer there?
I did. Well, kind of, because she actually walked out of the room whilst that segment was on, and then was so excited that segment she was mentioned that then my father failed to explain to her the use of the word efficacy and how I used it. So I then explained it in how it actually was used, and she agreed that was correct. So
Boldo moved the goalpost to make it sound like he was right. Got it.
And then Todd Carney came out of nowhere.
Todd Carney came out of nowhere. That's right.
Sounds like a bunker review decision.
This has got AI all over it.
We'll ask her to go back and watch the tape and explain. And on the next, actually, I was going to do a segment on this. Can I just say, actually, the word preliminary should be is like the thing like well before. So the prelim final should not be week 3. This week should be prelim final. Next week should be quarter. The third week should be semi-final, and then it should be the grand final. The naming conventions for the NRL finals are stupid. It's not actually, it's like entree when you go to America and you think you're getting like the little appetizer thing, but it's a full meal. They don't understand the meaning of the word. It's not preliminary.
It's also like Mr. Furious brings up debutante it's only associated with young girls making their debut. So there's nowhere and everywhere else they call it the guy is making his debut or he's a debutante. So it's just a rugby league thing.
Well, it's not just a rugby; it's an Australian sportism. Given that the AFL
Yeah.
used prelim final as well, and
I think
so
we
did
stole it
Super
from them.
Rugby. Oh, maybe we used to have major and minor prelim finals, then you go to the semi final and then the grand.
Well, the
final,
names they
wasn't
had
it?
for the top 5 was better. The names
If
they
only we
had
could
actually
steal
made sense.
their grand final entertainment.
Oh,
Well, the NFL's got it better with the wild card weekend, the divisional round, and then the championship. I think they've got better names.
sack
So
race.
NRL certainly do better. All right, let's go
They call
through.
it grand final qualifier as well, which I think's a misnomer as well. A qualifier sounds like you're playing against I don't know Venezuela to make the World Cup. It's you haven't
It's
even
a
made the big
qualifier.
dance. You're one game from a grand final. No, it's a qualifier.
It's a grand final qualifier. It doesn't really give us like the NFL's got the super wild card weekend. That sounds a little bit more serious than
What
the
are we changing to
qualifier.
the penultimate final?
Penultimate final, which actually
I don't know, Franco, have you got an answer for that?
And second to last.
Get it in the comments. What should the names of the
Second
finals
to
be, gang?
Well, it is the preliminary final to the grand final, but I do understand the confusion there, and it has rubbed me the wrong way a few times in the past as well. Yeah, different naming convention, sure, let's do it. We'll come up with
All right,
something in the
couple other
off-season for
comments.
the NRL.
Stewie Campbell said, Roosters are rocks and diamonds. If we put enough pressure on them, hopefully they fall to pieces. They have a high error count. Even last week, they made 12 errors in the first half. Let's just go see what else we got here. Scotty McLaren says, knowing our luck, if we moved the game to the SFS, there would probably be that train strike. Yeah, that was a disaster. That caught you out, didn't it, Matty?
I was fine getting there. I was ropeable that no one from the Shire could get there. And then myself and my son rock up at Central Station thinking, oh, yeah, this won't be long to get back to the northwestern suburbs where I reside. And then we were on Central Station still at 2 a.m. So thanks,
right.
City Rail. You didn't help your cause at all.
No. Stewie Campbell reminds us that the SFS is out of action next week for repairs to the turf. Then a few comments here. SJD, the cynic in me says that maybe we only played so well because there's no pressure on the outcome. And that was last week. Ash Williams called arms. Everyone join the Shark Cage on Saturday night. We're going to be loud and bring in the noise. Can I just say, Shark Cage, I really enjoyed your Instagram post, but the alarm that you used for the shark alarm was a World War II bomb alarm, not a shark alarm. Not that I'm a stickler for that.
It might have just been there to alert Will Kennedy, mate, to what could be raining
Maybe
down upon him.
there's a
And don't
bomb
let
coming.
it bounce.
That's true. SJD, when the Bronx Raiders game ends, it'll look like the end of the movie Glory. I can't say I've ever seen the movie Glory. Franco, will it look like the end of
Is
the
that a
movie?
Kurt Capewell film?
What about this one? World of Cricket says Fitzy needs to switch our wingers around and have Mulatalo matching up against Tupou. He smoked Sione in our first meeting this year. The height difference is too much with the Roosters kicking game. Franco, the problem with changing the wingers, and you just lose all your other continuity. Katoa's a quality enough winger. He can catch the ball, can't he?
Well, we saw what happened, and I'm going to flummox this. Hopefully Williams can help me here. We saw Ronaldo swapping wings in a game that was used quite effectively to nullify a threat. Probably was even against Melbourne, was it?
Against Xavier Coates when Atkinson ended up on the wing because Stone Street was injured.
So
he scored 3 tries, but it did kind of start stopping the problem in the end when they did it.
Yeah. It was a bit of a late call, but once it was made, I think it was effective.
Coates then switched wings himself, so it was a bit all over the place. And with
then
two
Ramian
short
followed.
wingers,
Mulatalo followed him back across.
Yeah.
So it was ducks and drakes. It was good fun. In this scenario, though, I think the problem with doing that swap is Marky Mark is there, and he's just as good under the high ball. So you've got Katoa marking up
Katoa's good.
a good leaper anyway. You may as well leave him on the side that he's used to.
It'll be fun. Mike Knight asks, why does my kitchen blow? There's other letters there, Mike. But, that's fine. Mega Milo plays said he would have liked to have seen Tuku Hau Tapua. Geez, we are doing well if Tapua can't even get a look. So that's certainly true. Mike Knight reminds us if you see the like button. Cecil fired up, says, you absolute legend. And then if there's any other comments, all right, I'm going to answer that trivia question.
Just a quick one for you, Boldo, was
Yep.
I think it was Stewie Campbell had a comment on your tiers.
Hopefully, Y doesn't fly kicks. Oh,
No,
Jesse
I've got it
Colvin
on the
could be with
screen for
Nico
you.
and AFA breakout season for him. He's been pretty good,
Agreed.
Jesse Colvin, hasn't he? I don't know if I'd would pushed him that high. Yeah, I think that's probably a fair assessment. All right, whilst Maddie goes through and looks through all the comments and works out which one is the winner of the competition.
Already worked out.
Well, you can think about it for 15 seconds longer.
You're giving
Maddie, do you
someone
know
else
the
time
answer
to get in a better comment?
Oh, yeah, still.
Yeah, so it depends how you're framing the question regarding 2023 finals, but I think you may be referring to the fact that it was the last time we played with a member of the 2016 team in our side.
Well, that's a good answer. And that is true. That is the last time that happened. Lats or Kelly, do you want to offer up an answer?
Oh, I think it was the last time my ass got stuck in a seat at the football, mate, because those seats at the back of the concourse were horrendous. They were
possibly.
Wouldn't even sit a child in that seat that gets stuck. Anyway,
that's possibly
I've been
true.
working on the treadmill, and I'll be right for this year.
That match. What was the significance of the match? It was the last time something happened.
Yeah, I'll go with Williams' answer, but I reiterate with Lat that I said to myself, this is the last time I'm coming to a finals match here until they fix this ground. Pay $90 for a shit seat.
Fair enough. Has Franco worked out what the answer is?
Didn't give it a thought. Apologies, and I don't know it.
All right. It is the last time the Sharks played, and there wasn't a debrief afterwards with the lovely legends from the ET stand doing a debrief straight after the match.
I'm with Kelly, though, that if we lose this week, there is no way I'm fronting up to a debrief and remaining G-rated. Well, I am at the game, but B, it'd be a tough gig.
What happens if we get done by a referee or something like that? Goodness me.
Give us the Tuesday. Give us the Tuesday.
Yeah.
We'll just save it for a Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's true.
I do know.
All right, give us the best comment, Matty.
So, honourable mention to Ben Turner. Honourable mention to Ben Turner for saying Williams will be talking till round one after a grand final win. Yes, I do like to talk. I don't think I'm going to be in a state, sober or otherwise, with children after a grand final win to be hosting for days afterwards. So I'll be able to, but I don't think I'll be online talking for days. But thank you for the other kind words there. But the winner goes to SJD, if I can find the comment. Congratulations on getting married. Go, mate.
My family didn't see me for 2 weeks after the grand final win in 2016, so good luck finding me for a debrief, mate.
Exactly. I don't know how if we win another premiership. Sorry, guys. With all due respect, the absolute last thing I'm doing is debriefing what just happened. Like I'm debriefing over many beers, but I'm not talking about it online because how good we've just won another premiership.
We're just going to have a camera rolling. We're just going to have a camera sitting there. It's not a debrief.
Bring your body cam home.
Yeah, it's like one of
those. And Matty pointing out that he won last week, so you can't pick him. Well, you can. You would be giving him 2 prizes.
Let's go. Well, honourable mention.
Two entries into the hat.
SJD, congratulations to get married. You've just demoted yourself there. And so back to Benny Turner for I'll be talking to.
Oh, Benny Turner.
On your Benny.
Good work.
Legend Benny Turner.
One final thing I'd like to say is shout out to the Sharks side on Saturday night. So there was 2 pretty full Sharks away GA bays at a call, and on full time, pretty much all the players came over and spent a long time. I'd say it was a solid 20 to 30 minutes on the field signing players. My kids were there. I had a lot of mates with their kids too. It was 3 deep around those 2 bays trying to get in on the action. Nico was obviously there being the man at the moment. Blake Brayley was hanging around talking to everyone. Toby Rudolph, big shout out to him, jumped the fence, went up into the crowd, saw a few of the guys who were less able-bodied, and also had plenty of time for my son and a few of his footy mates as well. And even one of the kids missed out on the signature, and we ran back Ronan and his mate ran back and got it signed. So it was good fan engagement there because I know they copped a bit of stick in Melbourne. And I don't blame them for the performance down there for leaving straight away. And this one, obviously, they want to get straight into recovery, but they were all there hanging around, and it was good to see. The Bulldogs fans had cleared out 20 minutes to go. no comment there. But it was a good night to be a Sharky.
It was actually Trish Meddy's partner that Toby went up and saw in the stand, so it was good shout by him to go up and do that. So
yeah,
good to see that as well.
Yeah. So.
All right, that was the ET Stand podcast for this Tuesday night as we head into week 1 of the finals. We're all pretty confident, but there's a lot of work to be done. Hopefully, we are here previewing week 2 of the finals next week. Some of us, I don't know who, will be debriefing this match sometime after full time. We'll work that out during the week, so keep an eye out for the notifications on YouTube and Facebook. Other than that, it's time to go again, Sharks. The roller coaster of the final series. Let's see if we can get it done. Thanks to our sponsors. For me, David Bolderman, and for my esteemed panelists, Chris Kelly, Matthew Williams, Scott Latino, and Stephen Franklin. Let's go, Sharks. Up, Cronulla.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.